All right, so today we're getting into a story that isn't really about what happened, but about what didn't. This is a deeply personal account of a future that was promised, but, well, it just never arrived. And it all starts right here, with a statement so raw it just cuts right to the heart of everything. This is the tragic endpoint, and we're about to unravel the whole story from the very beginning to see how we got here. So this is the big question we're looking at, isn't it? To answer it, we have to go back. We've got to piece together all the missed signals, the unspoken feelings, and the little moments that led to a lifetime of what if. So let's start at the beginning, with the foundation of this whole complicated relationship. It was a bond that was incredibly powerful, but also completely unspoken. Now, what I love is how the source material describes their whole social dynamic. It wasn't some simple love story, oh no. It was a messy, interconnected world of crushes, friendships, and awkward moments that made everything like 10 times more complicated. And right at the center of this web, you had two people, our narrator and a woman named Julie. They were super close friends, but there was always this undercurrent, this feeling that there was definitely something more brewing just beneath the surface. And here's where those side quests really come into play. First, you've got Greg, Julie's actual boyfriend, which adds that classic forbidden vibe. Then there's John, who was the narrator's best friend, and he dated Julie and apparently treated her pretty badly. And to top it all off, you've got Lori, the narrator's ex, which loops them all into this same tight-knit circle, a total pressure cooker of emotions. So you might be asking, why didn't anything happen sooner? Well, this is the crucial part. Julie, even with all her strong feelings, was really self-conscious about her size. She completely talked herself out of it, believing a guy like him would never be interested in her that way, even though, secretly, he was. And this just shows the tragic irony of their whole situation. Instead of risking rejection, she found another way to keep him close. She played the perfect wingwoman. She even set him up with her own best friend. It's a move that's somehow both really sweet and just absolutely heartbreaking at the same time. But, a connection like that, it couldn't stay buried forever. It found ways to break through, usually in these little moments they called stolen slices of time. It was like they were living in two different realities. During the day, they kept up the facade, just platonic hangs, inside jokes, strictly we're just friends. But at midnight, the masks would slip. And that's when they had the hushed conversations, shared deep secrets, and had this electric connection that nobody else was ever allowed to see. And in one of these moments of just raw, unfiltered honesty, he tells her something completely out of left field, something he probably wouldn't have told anyone else. And this one confession, it changed everything between them. Her response wasn't even in words. It was just this one emoji. And for him, that was a moment of pure shock. All of those buried feelings, all the what-ifs, they just came bubbling to the surface. The door that had been shut for so long had finally cracked open. The source uses this incredible metaphor to describe their bond. It wasn't simple, it wasn't safe, it was thrilling and intense and dangerous, and it was the kind of connection that was absolutely destined to leave marks on both of them for years to come. So this brings us to the final, fateful chapter of their story. This is where a single promise sets the stage for a whole decade of silence and a truly tragic ending. After all those years of unspoken feelings and stolen moments, she finally said the words he had been waiting for. She promised him that one day, when the timing was finally right, it would be them. And this promise, it became the anchor of their entire story. But life, as it does, pulled them in opposite directions. He moved on, he got married, he started a whole new life, and in the process, he ghosted her. Contact just stopped. A full decade of silence passed between them, with her promise just left hanging in the air. Then, 10 years later, it's a completely mundane moment. He's just living his life, and he posts a simple happy birthday message to his parents online. Just a normal, everyday action that contrasts so sharply with the tragedy that was unfolding completely out of his view. Because what he didn't know, what no one had told him, was that Julie was losing a battle with cancer. While he was celebrating his parents' birthday, her time was running out. And just like that was it. She was gone. The story didn't get a resolution. It was just over. The source puts it so well. It's like the universe just dropped the mic on a conversation he thought was only paused, not ended forever. So where does that leave him? Well, this last part of our explainer is all about the unique, complicated grief that comes from mourning a future that was stolen before it could ever really happen. His emotional state is described as a cocktail of mad and sad. It's not simple sorrow, it's this messy, conflicting mix of emotions that are all pulling him in different directions at once. And when you break down that cruel brew, it's got so much in it. There's real fury at her for making a promise she never got to keep. But there's also this intense guilt and regret for his own part in it, for ghosting her, for building that wall of silence. And underneath it all is just this deep, profound sorrow for the life they were supposed to have. And this really brings us to the core idea here, the grief of stolen slices. It's a term for mourning an alternate timeline. It's the grief you feel for the life that could have been, for the person you could have been with, if just one decision, one single moment had gone differently. So we'll end with this question for you, because while the story is uniquely his, the feeling behind it is pretty universal. I think most of us have an alternate timeline we think about, a what-if story that we carry with us quietly. What's yours?